overrides yet, then you probably shouldn't be watching this. Right, so let's just name this effect. And then within this, we create the particle system. Now, like I said, it's everything, every particle that you want. This is just going to come from the head, and this is only going to be a local particle. This is going to be simple, nice basic fucking thing. Right, so and yeah, so everything under this parent will enable and disable when I say in the effect, so that you can go in, make the animation override, and then never change the animation override, never have to go in and redo your keyframes because everything's going to be a child, because it's going to be deactivating act. Anyway, so this default horseshit that fucking comes out. So what we're going to do, first of all, we're going to, well, not going to change the lifetime, I'm going to change the speed. We're going to set it to 0. So that this stuff just doesn't move. It just keeps spawning everywhere. And then we're going to change the maximum particles to 1. So we have 1 particle, and it's just going to keep spawning every now and then, and, you know, over the 5 seconds that it exists for, which is defined here, and duration is there, and then it loops, etc, etc. Right, so what we want to do is want to stop. We're going to make like a halo, maybe like a little magical halo for this girl, just something nice and cute, something I've never really done before, but it's going to be nice and simple. So what we're going to do is I'm going to tell it to stop spawning, and this is in all over the place, and this is in shape. Now shape is what defines where it'll spawn. I mean, you can set it to emit from the base, emit from the shell, which will only ever emit from the edges. Volume, which is because it's a cone, so it'll emit from anywhere within this 3-dimensional cone. Volume shell, which will be like anywhere on the edges of the 3-dimensional cone. And then it's different shapes like sphere, hemisphere. Like hemisphere's really good if you want to have some pretty, like a nice sort of explosive effect from down to up, etc. So what we're going to do actually is something completely different, and we're going to remove the shape. So uncheck the shape box in there. It's going to be on the point. It's going to be wherever I want it to be on that point, and it's going to be attached to the head. Now, the way VR chat works is if anything that's attached to the head is invisible client side, which is why like you can have the avatar descriptor like fucking back here somewhere, and you'll never see your own head. You'll always see just your neck. Right. So while this is here, I'm going to change it so that it is going to be okay. So we got billboards. We got stretched, horizontal, vertical. Mesh is, we're not going to get into mesh right now. So we're going to go with a horizontal billboard, which will look like a flat, nice little plane like this. All right, nice and simple. A vertical billboard will be straight up and down, and it'll follow the camera. And to my knowledge, yeah, stretch billboard, just, I don't fucking know. I never use stretch billboards, so let's go with horizontal. And I am going to go to Google, and I am going to find a nice magical search. You know what? I probably got one in my fucking, not on this screen. Alright, so I'm just going to create a folder and call it Halo. Get in the habit of creating folders in your assets and subfolders, etc, 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 because you do that, you keep everything organized, you never lose anything. So I'm just going to drag this in here. This is just what I'm going to use. I've used this in a previous, this is an asset that I've had for a while, so I'm just going to use that. Now, there's 2 ways you could do this. You could create the material, you know, you could set the material to, I use sprites, but sprites sort of do some really funny stuff, like hold on to the rotation of whatever you do with rigid bodies, which is an advanced thing. So I'm going to go with particles, and I still always forget these. I forget what's what. I'm going to crank it up to white so it's nice and colorful. Alright, so we've got our material. So don't worry about this anymore, just leave it there. This is what we want to work with. And then because we want it on this particle system, we're going to drag the material onto the particle system. Bam, there it is. Beautiful. Now, nice and simple. This is pretty basic stuff. This is really, really basic stuff. You guys are probably waiting for the advanced shit. No one wants to see this stuff. This is just simple, but this is just for the record that, you know, I can cover this for now. Alright, what we want to do is, let's make it actually let's change the size of it first. So let's just go with a nice size of about half. It's not bad. Actually, let's make it more of a magical crown here. Some OC for you guys. Visible from below, visible from above. If you're straight on, you can barely see it. But I mean, you know, with the way VR works, if you're looking straight on, you might as well be in desktop mode. In which case, well, tough shit. Rotation. No, start rotation. Don't worry about that. We want rotation over lifetime. So, a nice way around this. Nice, simple way to fix this. See, it'll do its rotation and then it'll flicker. So every 5 seconds it's going to flicker. And that's because you'd have to tune the fuck out of this. So what we're going to do is, to get around this, because it's just a static object, I'm going to set the time to, that's what, 5 minutes? 300 seconds. So it's going to rotate and rotate and rotate, and it'll flicker once every 5 minutes. And you know, I've with the bracelet, I've had one person point it out once, and that's because I was in the middle of doing something else at the time, and it just looked like it lagged. All right. So now that that's just doing its thing, just sitting there chilling, let's go ahead and mess around with. I actually don't know what to really mess around with. I mean, you can mess around with curves and stuff. Just go nuts with these curves. Curves are fun. You can, but mind you, this is over 5 minutes, so it's just gonna do strange shit over the 5 minutes. Alright, so it's going to sit there and it's going to go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth over the span of 5 minutes. So instead of 5 minutes, I'm going to make it 30 seconds. Just so you sort of get the idea. So it's going to rotate, it's going to stop, it's going to go the other way. This is just a generalization. You can perfect it if you really want. And if you really want to perfect it, you can edit the keys. But this is just, it's just for show. It's just giving you a general idea of what's going on. You can randomize rotation and that sort of stuff, but once you start doing that, you get, actually it's locked axis, so that's fine. You can mess around with colors, because this is blue. Unity likes white objects. Actually, that actually makes perfect sense. It likes white objects because then it can change the hue of it, it can colorize it, etc, etc, etc. So, you know, let's make it edgy, so it's going to be red. Actually, you know what? Let's make it super edgy. Wait, you can't make it black because it goes fucking invisible. So it's going to stay red. Have a red magical circle. So since we're in the business of being super edgy, I'm gonna need, you know what, I'm gonna need ideas. If someone can jump in Discord chat and give me a fucking idea of what to do with this, because I'm just, at this point, I'm just winging it. You can do lights, but we're not gonna bother with that. Sub emitters is more of a, probably want that as a collision thing. We're not gonna do collisions because it's a local particle, not touching anything. It's just a basic, nice, simple, it's going to sit there, it's going to do random stuff. Well, not random stuff, it's just going to do that. And it's going to lock to the head because it's part of the head armature. So that's on all the time. But you always want to get into the, like I said before, you always want to get into the habit of just having it as a child or something, because you're enabling disabling things in animations. Anyway. So, what we're gonna, you know what? We're gonna do it. We're gonna make a meme. We're gonna make a fucking stupid meme. It's been overdone a million times. So, we're gonna go into advanced stages of shit. This is where stuff just kinda, gets a little annoying. Okay, so this is our game object. This is our particles for the wristband, which is currently visible because it's not selected at the moment. And because it's on all the time, I'm gonna have to make another game object. Oh, yeah, we're gonna have to do it. I don't know how well this is going to work because there's already one there directly on the amateur. So I'm going to create another empty game object, and I'm sure Wakami's is going to come in here and tell me it's going to be broken and I can't do it, etc, etc. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to name it to the, it's going to be a meme object. Then we create a particle system, right? So because this is going to be same rigid body setup, I'm going to create a fixed joint on this. We're going to set that to 0. Yeah, no gravity. And we're going to go and find what the fuck it was linked to. No, I don't want it on that. I want it on the left wrist. So let's go ahead and create another rigid. Not a rigid. Thank you. 0, 0, and then something I missed last. I think, thank God it wasn't saved. Is you need to freeze everything, or else you're going to run into plenty of issues, like not working. Anyway, so we go back to our rigid body here. Mind you, this is all for world particles. You need to do this for world particles if you want to attach it to a bone. We'll just drag that over there. There, that's done. Everything looks good, and now it's time for our particle system. No, it's not time for a particle system, it's time for the object to be moved. Now, you move the object, never the particle system. Only the particle system if it's in like, only the particle system after you've moved the object. So, let's move it as close to the left wrist as possible. Yeah, it's pretty good, that'll work. Alright, so now it's going to look like a terrible fucking joke is happening here of these stupid default particles, but we're going to, before I forget, world particles. So if I was to jump in the world right now with this avatar, this would all follow my hand, and as soon as it spawns, it's part of the world. So it wouldn't follow me around anymore, which is something that everyone knows triggers me beyond belief. So, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to change this. I'm going to change its speed to 0 for now. I'm going to change its shape from this cone to a... actually, I'm going to leave it as a cone, but I'm going to make it a volume. And I'm going to change its size. Let's, so when you're changing the size of this stuff, obviously, it's pretty simple. You know, you got your outer cone, you got your inner cone. The inner cone's always going to be smaller than the outer cone. It has to be. I mean, you can have it like a tube. You can have it like a tube, like straight out, and then you've got, you know, and you got, bam, you got a fucking cannon, and you can shoot your bullets and all that sort of stuff. You just go fucking berserk with that sort of stuff, but we're not doing that right now. Well, not like this. Actually, you know what? We are fucking doing this. This is what we're doing. We're making a meme. We're doing stupid shit for stupid reasons. So I say stupid shit for no reasons. And what we want to do is we want to follow the shape of the pose. So the easiest way is try to get a line up on this. When you're rotating shit, try to grab the colors. Try not to grab the edges, because the edges is a perspective thing. Alright, that's pretty good. I mean, when you define good, but you know. And then we're going to move the particle system just a tiny bit off the hand, because we don't want those collisions to do anything to us. So, particles. Let's limit the particles to, so with like my cash gun, the Supreme guns that I got, only a maximum of 600 ever shows up. So we're gonna go 200 here, emission, we're going to leave it to, actually we're going to set it to about 20. And we are going to add speed again. Let's go with 10. Let's go fucking berserk. And before I forget, I am going to add a terrain. It's not pretty, it's just a shitty white terrain. And I'm going to move the terrain. I'm just going to move it so that I'll be able to see collisions properly. It's white, it's ugly, I don't care. Anyway, so for now I'm going to just disable that so it's not in the fucking way. So once you've got your settings, you've got it pissing out fucking particles. Now what we want is we want to find the meme. Yep. Alright, so let's get something nice and stupid. Oh my god, I regret doing this. Alright. because I couldn't. You know what? I am going to find one. So when you Google Tips 101. Always, if you really want something, PNG. Nice and simple. And every time I talk, it's going to get fucking back, isn't it? And the reason we search for PNG is because we find results like this. When you see these checkers, it means it's got alpha and, you know, transparency. So we're going to save them. Ugh, whatever. I'm not even going to bother adding a material. I'm just going to drag and drop it onto here. Bam. Now we've got fucking me. Oh, this is terrible. So we're going to change the 3D start size. 3D start size. So just so we sort of, we're going to pause that and we're going to change it just a little bit so we can make it like at least half decent, you know, sort of scale. Alright, set its depth. And there is no fucking depth in a 2D image. Alright. So this is going to follow the screen. It's going to look cancerous as shit. But why stop there? So we've got this, and we're going to limit this to 100 just so it's not too crazy. I'm going to drop this back down to 10 just so it's not too. I mean, it's not going to lag anyone. I mean, 600 particles and no one really fucking lags. And if you've got like a true toaster, do you ever run any problems? So what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this. Just click the particle system, Control D, easy. Drag, drop, memes. Like, how fucking easy do you need it to be? Now, because we're going to be enabling and disabling the object, you can add like audio sources to it. You could add, that's pretty much it. Audio sources, particle systems, and objects is really the only thing you can fucking do. Like 3D objects, 2D objects, etc. You can add lights if you really want to, but they cause lag if you don't remove shadows. Something for another time. Alright. Both world particles. Then we're going to highlight both. You're going to be missing some things like material's going to be gone if you're highlighting multiple things because you've got different materials. So what we're going to do is we're going to move on. We're going to add collisions. Right, we've got world collisions. You can see, just pause this, you can see there is the sphere around it. So what we want to do is we want to get the radius scale. Let's make it 0.25. Actually, let's make it 0.5. Just so it's not too small and not too big. One thing I did forget is always set the max particle size to 10,000, or else the further people get away, the bigger they are. And the bigger they are and the further people away, the quicker you'll get fucking banned. Or blocked anyway. And you don't want people to block you. Or maybe you do, I don't know. That's your fucking prerogative. Right, we're going to move back to collisions. Bounce. So this will bounce the percentage of the speed that it is currently going. So 1 is, it will bounce at the exact same speed, it will bounce back at the exact same speed that it is traveling, which is a speed of 10. If you want to disappear, you know, you got your min and max kill speeds. And so if we want it to be, wanted to bounce around, but we don't want it to bounce around too much. So let's go 0.5. Dampen is when it bounces, this is a percentage. So the percentage of 1 is 100% dampen, so it will stop dead as soon as it collides with something. So what we're going to do is we're going to set that to 0 because we don't want our memes to stop. The memes must continue. The memes must go on. And before I forget, gravity modifier. Right, so this is something that a lot of people don't really like to mess with, but negative 0.5. So our memes will fly. But memes are not meant to fly. Memes are meant to die. So we change it to 0.5 instead of negative 0.5. So, when I spawn the terrain, our memes will continue. And they will bounce along forever happy. Not really. They'll bounce around for 5 seconds and disappear. So, we'll make it 10 seconds. Because why not? And we're going to go even deeper into the rabbit hole of memes. And we're going to go to size over lifetime. Right, so this is something that you always, I mean, you can do random curves, but a simple curve will do. So what you want to do is it starts off tiny and then gets really big straight off the get-go. So the top is 1. I'm sorry, with these curves, the top is 1, you know, you got your fucking scale here, 0 to 1. And 1 is, like I said, 1 is 100%. So 100% of the size of, I mean, yeah, it's multiple sizes going on over here. So it's going to come out really small, but we want it to be a little bit bigger before it even gets too far. And there we go. And just before it dies, so it's not too jarring when it disappears. So you get further and further along, and eventually they just start vanishing. Memes die. Memes have to die eventually. Right. I mean, you can mess with things like random colors and shit, but I don't think that's going to do anything with these sprites. Actually, yes, it will. It's just. But white is the color I want to go with right now because it just keeps the original colors of everything else. Alright, what else can I teach? Velocity over lifetime, we don't need to bother with that because we've got bounce and dampening and gravity, so it's going to collide with something eventually, and if it doesn't collide with something, it's going to disappear in 10 seconds, so you don't need to worry about that. That's, you know, force over lifetime, don't need to worry about that. Color over lifetime, you can do it if you want to make some, you know, some pretty neat like color effects if you're just working with like a straight up white particle. You can mess around with it here. Another one like that, you know, that's just, you set your location, so you want, you know, 25% is a good thing. Down here, let's go 25%. I actually forgot. Oh, that's alpha. So that's your alpha. That's your transparency. So you can make it like grow and fade in at the same time. And then we'll go 90% over here because this disappears pretty quickly. So we're going to go alpha over here. Alright, so that looks terrible. Actually, I'm going to set this to 10%. Alright, so when I simulate, they fade in. Right, this isn't something you want to do with a meme. It's just sort of faded in like that. That's not really something, but I'm just showing you. This is something that you can do. So you can make things fade in. You can make things fade in really late. Oh. It's okay. Unity's just having a fucking spaz. Yeah, Unity hates me right now. So we're going to remove that because I keep hitting the wrong button for one. Right. This is where the fun is going to continue. Because I'm going to make even more. Actually, I'm going to do myself a favor. And limit the particles again, not that it really matters. There we go. So it's just tuning it so that it has a nice flow. It's not going to stop. This is a 10-second. It's a 10-second loop, and once it's at 10 seconds, it's a nice steady flow, and it keeps going. I mean, you can crank the particles and crank everything and have a beautiful day, but right now, because I'm streaming, it just doesn't seem to want to play ball with me too much. So I'm going to remove the train again so I can work in peace. So, sub-emitters. Something I've learned recently and is still sort of very slow learning. So sub-emitters will be any particle, must be a particle as a child of the particle that is sub-emitting. So, what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate, and I'm going to create it as a child to this parent, which is a child to this parent, which is the one we activate and deactivate. So what's going to happen is you change the. This is going to be a sub-emitter. So with this sub-emitter, we want it to be a emission with a burst. Let's make it one cycle, max of 30. God, time is. Let's make it 1. Maybe that'll work. Hopefully that'll work. And then we go back to our parent of that, and we go to the. See, this is where I get confused because I just have so much shit open for no reason. Alright. Sub-emitters. I'm going to check this box. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to clean this up as well. Go back here. Alright, so sub-emitters. We've got on collision. On collision we want this particle, and we want to inherit nothing. Because why would we inherit anything? You can inherit color, size, rotation, or everything like it says right there. But we want it to do its own thing. So actually I think it might actually work now if I just enable terrain. No, it's not. I've probably missed something. Wakama, if you can tell me what I've missed, then you can get in here and help. Oh, never mind. I haven't missed anything. I know exactly what's happened. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back here. I'm going to go to the shape of it. And I'm just going to make it a sphere. So when I do this, every time actually it's not every time, it's just on the first bounce, it's just gonna pop it. So when you pop it out, it's gonna go bam. You got fucking it's okay signs everywhere. And max particles is telling it not to throw any more out there, so I'm just gonna go stupid with this. Jesus, fuck. Hey, shock and awe, why not? So when you go the whole, you want to show the whole thing, you highlight all your particle systems and go simulate. Bam, there you go. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to duplicate this, nice and easy, drop it in there, and I'm going to do the same thing and drop the image back on there. I regret it immediately. Alright. Same thing here. Sub emitter. I'm going to stop that. I want the collision to be this particle. We want this particle is still a sphere, so there you go. And that's how you make some really memey fucking laggy shit that no one likes. And then you do your normal, add an audio source, attach that and call it a day. It's gonna, I don't quite understand sub-emitters yet, so it's gonna do just random stupid shit like that. I think it's just, it's because they're disappearing. So if you want, let's get around this right now. Let's just make the start lifetime, let's make it 1 second. There we go, look at that, 1 second, and it's just popping all over the place. We've got fucking particles everywhere, we don't know what's going on, everyone's confused, what the fuck's going on? Oh look, memes, haha, funny. Right. What else? I mean, once you figure out, oh right, some keynotes here. Sub-emitters must be burst. They must be bursts. The reason and when I say burst, they don't have to burst like this. When they burst, they can be any shape. They can be hemispheres, for example, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna do, it's gonna do the exact same thing. Or like a cone, so so what's gonna happen is, so that's a cone. So what's happening is it's colliding and it's just spawning more as it's colliding along, because the cone is, well, it's the same as the hand. So if you want it to burst and explode like that, it's just a sphere. It's nice and simple. Everything applies still. Your size over lifetime. Actually, I need to double check if size over lifetime. No, size over lifetime apparently doesn't transfer over. So we'll just not care about that for now. So this, like I said, it's the biggest part of world particles is the rigid body fixed joint. You need to burn this into your mind. This is like the holy grail of world particles, is doing this. And once you make your fixed joint, the fixed joint is on the directly under the armature on the object, and for example, this is the left wrist, which is the rigid body. You link the rigid body, so you link the left wrist to the fixed joint here, and you've got yourself, you're ready to go. The object must always be under the armature, to my knowledge, it can be like, it could be here, which is technically under the hips, but it's still a child to the armature, but just throw it under the armature just to be safe. Right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to have some fun. We're going to make it we're actually going to do the animation. So let's duplicate this, disable this, disable this. And let's go to our Luca model. So we're going to go in, we're going to disable the meme object, and I'm just going to do it here too, because for consistency. And I'm going to create an animation. Let's just look, I'm not very creative, I'm just going to call it meme. And then we go, so it's different for everyone. You can go, I'm just going to go straight in. Let's go to meme object, I'm going to make it active. So activate it there. Make sure you delete this keyframe. If you don't delete the keyframe out there, you're going to run into problems. So let's go to Crab Lady over here, and we'll just do a quick hand pose with the muscle editor, right? So in the link, there's a couple of links underneath the stream that will link you to the custom SDK. It actually contains the muscle editor. which you add by going Window, Muscle Animation Editor. It'll pop up like you normally do with the VR chat, and then you just drag it over here. It's good over here. Use it over here because you need to be able to see this at the same time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add all the right fingers, going to add all the left fingers. And I'm just recovering this because a lot of people sort of go in and add all the bones. So you see it's add all the bones for me. Look how easy that was. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the right hand. And I'm going to make it, I'm just going to make it open. Good habit to get into is disable all the spreads. You don't want those because that's what spreads your fingers like sideways. And we're going to open, we're going to go open hand. Now I noticed something in this model because I actually looked at it in game and it looked pretty terrible because some of the meshes look perfectly fine in Unity, but in the game apparently they okay. So thumb spread is something you use when you just want to. Thumb spread's the only real one you kind of want to keep activated, to be honest. And now I'm going to do the other hand. So I just click this button, and that's done. All right. And then we let's get edgy. I forgot about the edge. Let's get edgy again. Let's Hitomi small. Yep. And make it angry. Where's anger? There's anger. And I know people think this is eyes. It's not. It's a fucking mouth. And let's go. Let's show true colors. So let's just. I really don't care about tuning it right now. I'm just gonna set them all to 100. Pop the meme out. I'm gonna be fucking mad as shit. All right. And memes are just gonna fly out of my. I think it's my left. Out of this hand here. So, yeah, I am activating the game object, which is called meme object. So go straight up to the top. Click the first one. Go to the second keyframe. Paste. Control S save. Just do it. Control S save. Whatever. It doesn't save the animation. As soon as you do anything in it, it saves the animation. Disable that, re-enable that. Now, I'm going to go and find whatever. Ugh. Jesus, it'll fucking do. Grab my program here. I'm just gonna pass it, and download it, import it, etc, etc, etc. I really don't care what it sounds like. It's just, it's a fucking meme. I don't care. I just dumped everything in this Halo folder because I'm streaming. I don't care. I'm gonna delete this once I'm fucking done. I don't give a shit. So what I'm doing right now is on my other screen. I'm just grabbing this. Right. That looks fucking terrible. I never want to hear this. So I'm going to go to the meme object. I don't actually have to enable it. I'm going to add a audio source, and to save everyone's fucking ears, I'm going to make it 5% and 50%, and I'm going to change the range to 20 meters. You can change the roll off. Apparently it doesn't fucking matter anymore. As soon as you go and build it, it changes. Sorry, yes, as Wakamu just in the chat, subemitters also have a max particle value, and this value affects all instances of this subemitter. Right, that's back on the world particles and when they're collided, and yeah, okay, so this audio source is enabled by default, play on awake, which is good. But I'm not going to loop it because, you know what, we're going to loop it because people, I'm just going to hold this thing for fucking like 5 minutes one day, you watch. And that's it. That's all I got to do. because this is what's enabling and disabling. I don't need to worry about going to my animation or anything like that. It's just there. Right, I'm going to go to SDK. You guys probably all know this shit anyway. All these duplicates so you have the original. I'm going to go ahead and add this. What is that? What have I done? What the hell is that? You know what? I don't care. So I'm going to just go ahead and override the override. Grab this. I'm going to make rock and roll. Rock and roll. Change that to meme. Done. And there you go. That is it. That is a meme on an avatar that was piss poor effort. You could go nuts. You could like actually, you know what, I'm gonna add in just a little effect, little small thing here. I'm gonna delay it by like 3 seconds. There you go. A 3-second delay on fucking smiling while laughing emoji. Ha 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 ha. Sorry, laughing or crying, whatever. So just a test, do a sanity check, make sure I'm M done. Yeah, nice. There you go, there's your 3-second, then all the fucking... So, yeah, there you go. Delay. Delay is the main thing that you do, the main way that you do like all the effects. The main way that I do all the effects anyway. So we got the edgy halo. Do we really want to do anything else with this? Not really. I mean, I really don't care that much. Alright. So re-disable this. Make sure I'm logged in. Alright. He wants to do that to me. Okay, whatever, I'm logged in. Freaking delicious. Look at all these. Audio sources found in avatar, blah blah blah. Lower arm is not first child of upper arm. It works. I mean, it works fine. Yeah, that is pretty self-explanatory. I'm just going to cover things randomly as if I can see them, honestly. So that's because you have shoulder there for some reason, and I don't know. It's there, but it's fucking weird. Bones are all over the place. All right. But, I mean, I went into game and it worked okay. So I'm going to publish it. We're going to give it a nice, simple name. Something that I'll remember. I mean, it's going to have the image with it as well, so, you know. Actually, no, I don't want to update it. I'm going to go and I'm going to detach the blueprint ID, and then I'm going to publish it as something separate. The fucking music is terrible. Alright, and now that is there, we're going to go and do something a little different here. I'm going to grab this. I'm going to change the solid color from that to black. Oh yeah. Now we're edgy. Now we're talking. Get right up in there. And we're going to click upload. And there, we're done. It's particles and advanced particles. Crash Course 101. And if you had a hard time following, you can watch the archive video. Sort of rewind, fast forward, etc. I'm tired. Don't know exactly which frame it'll grab from here. I'm pretty sure it just grabs the frame as as soon as it tries to upload the image, I'm pretty sure it grabs that frame at the time. And we're done, just like that. That was, I mean, mainly because I was explaining everything. That was like an hour, a bit less than an hour. Actually, that was less than an hour. So yeah, this is with the bracelet, with the halo. You don't see anything at the moment because, well, you know, you gotta check them. Yeah, they don't all play at once. There you go. Done. If you have any questions, pay me. Please. Yeah, so with that done, any questions in the chat? I'm gonna sit here and do a sanity check on this model again while I wait for any chat questions. Some see-through textures there, but that's because I'm using the default shader on the body, not Toon Shader. Any examples you want me to make? Something you want me to cover? Might as well. I mean, an hour for a stream, I guess it's pretty normal. Have a look how many blend shapes are in here. There's something there. Oh, this looks like a signature actually. We've got no size. We've got yellow glasses. Cool. Yes, well, I don't. If you see me with this avatar, Keto, run. Just run. It never ends up well. Look at that. You get too close and it gets too small. That's sprites for you, I suppose. It's just not a sprite, it's a particle. Whatever. Down the downside of using 2D images. It always wants to fill the screen. It's kind of sad this doesn't have a normal map. Alright, well, if there's no more questions, or no questions at all, mind you, then I'll just sit here and dick about with this object until I get bored, which will be pretty quickly. I'm gonna make it edgy while I'm here. I've nothing else to fucking do. Why is there no drag function on this tool? Can Corel get it right for once? I use Corel instead of fucking Paint Shop because this is just so much easier to use. So much more basic. That's nice. Let's do that. Oh yeah. Yeah. Right, and then we grab this shit over here. And fucking hue and fucking texture editing 101, ladies and gentlemen. No, don't do that. Don't grab everything. That's stupid. This is just like, apparently I'm grabbing the entire fucking face at the same time. Oh yeah, the black fucking dot. That's a bonus. See that? That's a bonus, that one. It's a fucking there it is. There's a signature. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just remove this person's mark on their hard-earned avatar that they made. Apparently I can't remove it. Don't know why. That's why. No, that's not why. God damn it, I'm stupid. Ta-da! That's fucking gone. I'm not triggered as much. What is tolerance for? You're gonna have to fucking... You're gonna have to, like, specify with that. Because I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, no, you're gonna have to specify with that actually. Sorry, I don't usually read the chat. So I'm a little behind. There we go, I made it a bit bigger now, I can read it. Oh, tolerance, right. Fucking, sorry, yes, tolerance. So tolerance is how far away from the color that you're choosing it will select on the scale. So tolerance is, example, if I want to select this little blue part and then I have to move, I'm holding out shift here to keep selecting this little purple part, or I'll select this for now, or I can set tolerance to, I don't know, 20, and then I select the purple part, and I've selected most of the blue part, the purple part, and a little bit of the pink part here. So the higher the tolerance, the more color range it'll select. 20 is usually what I sit on. But the thing is, if you go too far, you start like it'll like find a way through like these fucking gaps. Yeah. So when you start getting that problem, you just drop it down a bit, whatever. Then you drop down a bit and move on. There you go, easy. And then you just fill in the gaps. And then you've got that one little piece, and you move on over here, etc., etc., etc. You know what, just because I might as fucking well, I'll just adjust this as well. Apparently, alright. There we go, and I got